Yo, what's good, YouTube? It's Justice. I used to be Pay, and today I'm back with another video. And if you're new here, I gotta go over the rules real quick. If you watch my content, you gotta subscribe. It's just a handshake agreement. Help me out. But today in this video, I'm gonna be talking about Jack Harlow and why I feel like, at least in my eyes, maybe not in everyone else's, he's kind of redeemed himself in the year of 2023. Now, 2022 was kind of a weird year for Jack Harlow. It was a good year in the beginning, but also kind of a bad year at the same time. Now, Jack Harlow was one of the biggest rising stars of 2022, especially in rap, but just in pop culture in general. He was everywhere, all over social media, all over YouTube, all over everywhere. He was just everywhere, all right? He had a lot of big songs. He had the song What's Poppin' like a couple years beforehand, and that kind of boosted him up into mainstream status. But this was the year that everyone just really decided to pitch their wagons to Jack Harlow, especially big time mainstream media. Like, they really wanted him to be that guy. You know, he's got the look, he's got the swagger, the persona. Like,
there's nobody in this room that wouldn't fuck their cousin for $1 billion.
He was just the guy that the mainstream media wanted to be a huge star, and so they were kind of pushing Jack Harlow down our throats, pretty much the entire year. Now, I have been like a pretty decent fan of Jack Harlow's throughout his career, starting like maybe a little bit before What's Poppin' or right around What's Poppin'. So like, I like some of his music, but I'm not like a huge fan, but I do like his project Confetti a lot. Like, that's one of my favorites from him, probably my favorite from him to this day. So I'm kind of a fair weather Jack Harlow fan, so it was nice to see. I like Jack Harlow. I like, you know, his music, and I think he has a decent amount of potential in rap, so it was kind of cool for me to see. But it did get to a certain extent where it was going a little too far. You know, people were calling him the next Drake, and I know people, whenever I say that nowadays, everyone's like, what? Nobody said that, but people were saying that in 2022, that he was the next Drake. He was hanging around Drake. They were comparing him to Drake. They were like, oh, you know, he kind of even looks like Drake's son a little bit. So they were just calling him the next Drake. They were saying he was the guy that was just next up in rap to be huge. And, you know, he was seen around Drake a couple of times. So that really, you know, kind of put gasoline on that fire. So it was really like a big thing. People were really trying to make Jack Harlow the biggest star of 2022. And, you know, he also had the song with Lil Nas X, Industry Baby, I think at the end of 2021. So he was just coming into the year with a lot of momentum. Everyone was kind of on his meat. Like, it was just Jack Harlow time. It was Jack Harlow, Jack Harlow, Jack Harlow. And I think it kind of pushed Jack Harlow into a situation that made him do things that he probably normally wouldn't have wanted to do. Now, that gets me to this point in 2022 where he literally breaks the internet with the one sample, the one song, the one snippet that he dropped, which was the snippet to the song First Class, which ended up going #1. And that literally like broke the internet when it came out. I'm gonna show you. I can't really like play the song because I don't want to get copyrighted, so I'm just gonna sing it. I've been a G, throw up the L, sex in the A, M, O, R, O, U, S, and I can put you in first class. So yeah, that song went like super crazy viral even before he dropped it. And that First Class was like the start of this whole, at least, descent of Jack Harlow, in my opinion. Now, the song is pretty good. I like the song. I'm not a hater of the song. A lot of people like don't like the song, which is understandable, but I like it. But that song right there had literally every frat boy, sorority girl, like it had that type of demographic just in a chokehold, right? So everyone was waiting on that song. Oh my God, then the song comes out, everyone loves it. And that's the lead single to his album. It starts the rollout for Come Home, The Kids Miss You. And I think that song and that kind of space that Jack Harlow was in was extremely pop. It was very pop. It was like, oh my God, we're trying to make rap, but we're also trying to make pop rap, kind of like Drake, but a little bit more pop than Drake would normally go. Drake does go pretty pop on some of his stuff, but it was really like the epitome of pop rap. And Jack Harlow can do that, but that's not really Jack Harlow's type of music. Like, Jack Harlow's not a pop rapper. He's not like Doja Cat. He's not even really like Drake. Like, he can do that type of stuff, but that's not his core. You get what I'm saying? So it was kind of like pushing Jack Harlow to this side. I mean, I know the song, like, I wouldn't consider What's Poppin' like a super poppy rap song, or even Industry Baby. Like, yeah, those were pop songs, but he was still more rapping on those songs. But he kind of dug into this lane because obviously when you make pop rap songs, they're going to do better than the average rap song because it fits more into a bigger demographic than just rap fans. So he kind of started to dig into that lane, and that's where Come Home, The Kids Miss You comes in. And that album was kind of buns. At least in my opinion, I thought the album was pretty bad. And then in the opinions of a lot of people, it was really bad. It sounded very commercialized. It didn't sound like the Jack Harlow that sounds corny, but it the Jack Harlow that we knew and loved. It didn't really sound like his type of music. It felt like Jack Harlow was trying to play into this whole, I'm the next big thing, I'm the next big pop star from rap, I'm the next big guy. And maybe I'm wrong. Maybe he just, made a project and it just so happened to not land well on a lot of people. But it kind of felt like that was what he was trying to do. And it kind of reminded me of J. Cole on the song Let Nas Down, where he talks about how he made that pop record, talking about the song Workout and how, he made it and it went crazy on the charts and stuff. But Nas, one of his biggest idols, hates that song. And it's super pop and it's filled with no heart, it's filled with no substance, and it's just kind of commercialized and it's just there to make money. And J. Cole talks about on the song Let Nas Down how he was just really disappointed and how it really hurt him that Nas, one of his biggest heroes, felt that way. And that's kind of what it felt like with Jack Harlow and Come Home, the Kids Miss You. It really felt like he was trying to do something that he kind of wasn't, or not that he wasn't, but that he normally wouldn't do and that he wasn't really comfortable with. And it didn't really play out well, at least in my opinion. And again, in the opinions of most. Again, music is subjective. So maybe you loved the album and you thought it was the best album of that year, but it was not very well received. And it kind of dampened all the light and all the hype that was there for Jack Harlow because, he can have the personality, he can make the jokes, he can have the ladies thinking he's gorgeous. But at the end of the day, what people care about when you're a musician is the music. So if that's not hitting, it's going to mess everything else up. And so people were really down off Jack Harlow. People were trashing him, saying he's garbage. And I don't want to say I was a part of that. I will say I definitely dumped on that album. I did not like it whatsoever, but that's because I knew how good Jack Harlow could be. And that was just really disappointing to me when I saw the entire world looking at him, when he had the spotlight on him, to kind of fumble like that. It just was pretty disappointing. And it left Jack Harlow in a pretty bad space. And he kind of, I don't want to say like personally, I don't know what he was going through, but in terms of like public perception, it was a pretty bad space for Jack Harlow. And he kind of disappeared for a while after that. Not saying again that, the album was bad and everyone hating him made him disappear. I don't know what was going on with him, but I'm just saying in general, he was not very prevalent like he was in the beginning of the year after the album came out and then going into 2023. But this is where Jack Harlow's redemption begins. Randomly, just a random day in 2023, Jack Harlow's like, hey guys, I'm dropping an album called Jack Man. I'm going to be returning to my roots. And really random, it's a far cry from Come Home, the Kids Miss You, which had crazy promo, crazy interviews, crazy billboard, all that stuff. He dropped a rollout single. The song went #1. Like, it had crazy hype. This project, he was just kind of like, hey y'all, I'm dropping something. If you want to go listen to it, go listen to it. If you don't, hey, whatever. And that was pretty interesting to me, and it gave me hope. I saw the cover. It looked like he was back in Kentucky, and it gave me hope immediately. Now, this album was probably a bit of promo for the movie White Men Can't Jump, the remake that he was in. I didn't see the movie yet, so I guess it didn't really work that well, but it was probably timed around that time because of the movie. But still, there was not a lot of promo, not a lot of hype. It was just kind of like Jack Harlow coming back and dropping an album, and oh my gosh, this was a breath of fresh air, in my opinion, for Jack Harlow. It was so much better than his last project, and it felt like Jack Harlow was back making Jack Harlow music. It felt like he was making music that he wanted to make and that he liked, instead of making music for everyone else. When you make music for everyone else, sure, it can work at times, but that's not what got you there. You make music for you. You make music that sounds good to you, and if you don't like it, it's going to be pretty hard pressed for other people to like it. Of course, there are exceptions, but typically when you're doing an art form and you're not all the way into it, it doesn't turn out super well. But this project felt like Jack Harlow. He was actually rapping on this project. And I'm not saying that to say, oh, you can't just rap about nothing, because I listen to Playboi Carti. I don't really care about lyrics for certain artists. But with Jack Harlow can actually put some topics on some songs and actually rap about some stuff that actually kind of matters. And he can actually say some stuff that's pretty clever and pretty interesting, and not just, oh, Jack Harlow, I get the girls, I'm handsome. And, he can actually do some stuff outside of that. Now, of course, he can do that and that can be cool. But this project was actually really good. And it was only 10 songs long. It wasn't super bloated. It was only like 30 minutes worth of runtime. And it was just a really nice piece of music. And really on this project, he kind of sounded more like a young J. Cole than Drake, which has been his comparison for the last couple years now. He low-key sounded like Cole in this project. I don't know if it was on purpose, but it just kind of sounded like J. Cole. Obviously, he's not J. Cole. I'm not trying to say he's trying to copy J. Cole or be like J. Cole, but that's the kind of vibes it was getting. It was kind of, young rapper on the come up and just kind of spitting his game. And if you like it, you like it. You don't, you don't. He wasn't trying to be commercial. He wasn't trying to be Billboard Hot 100. He was just being Jack Harlow. And that's when his music is the best, in my opinion. Like, it doesn't sound like he's trying to fit into something else. It doesn't sound like he's trying to fit into the mainstream. It just sounds like he's being Jack Harlow. And on those 10 songs, I don't think he missed once. I'm gonna be honest. It's not the best project. I'm not saying it's a 10 or it's one of the best ever. Like, I'm just saying it was a breath of fresh air because that last project felt so commercialized. It felt like if you've ever been, this is a really weird comparison, but have you ever been to like Mexico, right? And in America, everything is processed. Everything is not natural. Like, all the juices have a bunch of GMOs and a whole bunch of extra sugar. And then you go to Mexico, right? And you get a glass of apple juice and you're like, what the hell? What is this? Why does it taste like this? Where's all the extra flavor? It's because it's natural. It's real juice. When you go to Mexico and you're on these nice resorts, they're giving you real apple juice. It's not apple juice, which we get in America. And that's the kind of difference between Come Home, the Kids Miss You and Jackman. Jackman is real apple juice from a real apple that grew on a tree that they pressed the juice out and they just handed it to you in a cup. Jackman is the processed apple juice with all the sweeteners and all the extra sugar. And yeah, that might be cool, but that's not what you really, really want, technically. I mean, me personally, I was like, when I was in Mexico, I was ready to get back on the GMO stuff because it didn't have enough flavor for me. But just in general, in life, if you want to be healthy, you're going to choose the apple juice that's actually natural. I just kind of went on a tangent there, but y'all get what I'm saying? It felt more real. Jackman felt like a real Jack Harlow project, and it felt more like he was evolving from his sound previously to Come Home, the Kids Miss You. It felt like an evolution from a project like Confetti rather than him trying to change himself and make himself into something that he may not all the way be. So in my eyes, Jack Harlow is redeemed. I feel like he can start his path back to being a huge star, and maybe he won't be the next Drake. Maybe he won't be a huge star, but the fact that he can make his music and make the music that sounds good to us and that probably felt better to make for him is a really good sign, in my opinion. And it just shows that Jack Harlow actually is a good artist. I know a lot of people were trashing him, but he really is a good artist. And I don't think Come Home, the Kids Miss You was a good representation of who he is as an artist. It felt like his big break in the pop scene. He wanted to make it happen, and he tried something, and you know what? It didn't really work. It felt a little fake. But this was a redemption for Jack Harlow. This was him getting back on the right track, and I'm really excited for his next project. He can still work in some pop stuff, but that was Jack Harlow. That project was Jack Harlow. And if you don't like Jackman, well, hey, you probably just don't like Jack Harlow that much, just being honest. But that was a real project. Songs like Denver, songs like Gang, 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 where he talks about some real stuff, like that type of stuff is what I like to see from Jack. Even a song like It Can't Be, where he's still kind of popping his stuff and, talking kind of sweet. Like, even on songs like that, where he's just flexing and talking about, what he's done and how he's gotten here and how, you can blame whatever you want, but he still worked hard. Like, even on songs like that, like, it still just feels real and genuine. And that's what I like to see from Jack Harlow. That's what I like to see from young artists. You don't have to reinvent yourself. You don't have to reinvent the wheel. Do what works for you. Don't try to be commercial, because commercial can work and it's cool, but the people gonna love you for you, bruh. And I know I'm getting a little deep and a little emotional here, but whatever. I just really feel like Jack Harlow redeemed himself. I like the project a lot. I was listening to it for literally like months upon months. This is the first time in a while that I've really stopped listening to it. It's just a breath of fresh air compared to his last project. And it feels like Jack Harlow is getting back to being Jack Harlow instead of trying to be Drake or trying to be a huge star. You get what I'm saying? But that's just my opinion. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe Jack Harlow's still trash and that last project was garbage. Who knows? Whatever. It's just my opinion. Don't get butthurt. I'm literally just some dude in his house, in his mom's room, or in his mom's house, in his bedroom, his childhood bedroom, making videos while he waits to go back to college. So whatever, just don't take it too serious. But that's the end of my video. If you made it this far, leave a like, leave a subscribe. I'd greatly appreciate it. Have a great day. Peace.